Harbor family, anyone else that is joining us, man, we want to welcome you to this special podcast episode. I'm Ryan Akers. I'm the discipleship pastor, and next to me is our senior pastor, Jeff Manis. And today we get the special privilege of sitting down with Don and Diana Beebe. Many of you know Don from his NFL career. Played wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills during their 4 straight Super Bowl appearances before winning a Super Bowl with Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers. Everyone always says Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers. At least that's where I grew up. Everybody did that. He's also remembered for one of the most famous hustle plays in NFL history, chasing down Leon Lett in Super Bowl 27, knocking the ball free just before the goal line. Even with that game, essentially decided he never stopped competing. And so Don's story continues to just inspire people. And in 2027, there's a feature film coming out about their life called Run for Glory that's scheduled to be released. I'm super excited for that. But as memorable as the football career is, that's not actually what our sole focus is for this conversation. So what we are interested in is the faith that has shaped your guys' lives, what has shaped your marriage, and as parents, your family, and the legacy that you're building for Jesus. And so I just want to thank you both for just spending some time with us. I after what's really been just an incredibly busy weekend, we're so grateful that you're here, excited to jump in. Now, Jeff and I are pastors. We are not in any way professional interviewers, and so we have just put together a list of questions. We're each going to kind of take turns asking you different questions, but we'll see where the conversation takes us. So I'm just going to dive in real quick, and then we're just going to let you guys have the mic. But first of all, how did the two of you meet, and what was kind of your first impression of each other?
You want me to go first?
Well, sure.
Okay. We were born in the same hospital, 8 months apart. We met in kindergarten, and we were in the same class all the way through school, all the way through high school. We started dating our junior year, right before our junior year started. We went out on a date, and my dad said, "Don't screw it up." And I haven't yet, so we're good. That's awesome. So we've known each other. We've known each other for 56 years, man. And if I was to do it all over again, I'd do the exact same thing.
It's awesome.
And I absolutely, obviously would too. So
Yes.
yeah.
And how much of his homework did you help him with?
Actually, I don't remember too much of that. Yeah. No,
it wasn't a lot of that.
no.
That's awesome.
We didn't cheat too much.
Well, when was it when you first, you grew up together, but when was it that you guys really started, hey, I'm really interested in this person?
I'll take this one. Yeah. So I had started kind of like having eyes for Don, I would say probably my freshman year, maybe even 8th grade possibly, but kind of kept it a secret, tucked it away. And then it was, our junior year of high school it was called Elburn Days, and it was just a carnival. And the cheerleaders all gathered, and we had the dunk tank. That was how we raised our money. But at that point, at that night, I had confided in my best friend and told her. But I, of course, when you're in high school, you have to swear you are not gonna tell anybody. And of course, she runs off and she tells Don. And at that time, he was with your buddy Greg, right? Yeah. And so I think Greg encouraged you to come and ask me out, and you were like, "Oh no, I can't." Yeah. You can share that part.
Yeah, he just said, "You got to go ask her. You got to go ask her." And I was like, "I'm not." I was an introverted kid. I was just not going to do it. And, well, if you don't ask her, I'm going to ask her. And I was like, "Okay, I'll go ask her."
You don't want that humiliation.
Yeah. So he did, and unfortunately, that particular night, I was in charge of closing the dunk tank, and I was responsible for the money. And I had asked several of my girlfriends, and they all had their plans. They were going places afterwards, and so we did not go on that date.
No.
But I did ask for a rain check.
Yeah.
I did.
So then the very next morning, we're running up to practice. It's the first day of fall camp for football, 2 days, in 1982. And we're driving, me and 3 buddies of mine, and literally the car broke down right in front of her subdivision.
Wow.
I mean, guys, you can't get any more God than this. And it's like,
awesome.
wait a minute, our car just broke down. Now, at this point in time, I didn't think anything about her because we had another buddy named Frank Kigios was in that same subdivision. So we ran to his house because you can't be late. Back in those days, you're not late for practice. And Frank had already left. And then somebody said, well, Diana Beckley lives right up there. And I was like, oh boy, she just turned me down and now we got to go. So we ran up to her house and sure enough, she was ready. She was headed to the dump tank money to the school anyway. Because we didn't live in a town. There was like 5 small farm towns that went to this high school that was in the middle of the cornfields. So it was a good 10, 15-minute drive to our high school from where she lived. And I drove in the front seat with her. All the 3 buddies jumped in the back, and they all piled out. And there I was, left in her blue duster to ask her out again.
That's awesome.
That's where the beginning of the story happened.
That's awesome. And you shared this morning at our men's breakfast, you guys dated for 7 years?
7 years,
That's awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, 7 years. Yeah.
Very cool.
7 years, and it is amazing, but it, that has its challenges too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because there's even some distance with the college stuff, and
right.
Yeah, it really
Exactly.
was, yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. So Don, your faith is very central to your life now. Have so appreciated learning more about your story last night at dinner and today at the men's breakfast. But has faith always been central to who you are? Was there a turning point at some time in life? You're like, man, this was like the shift in my life that really made it central.
Yeah, it was always.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just 7 years old. I knew, I mean, I just was growing up. I was one of the fortunate, blessed kids to grow up in a solid Christian home that had a dad that lived out his faith and a mom that lived out her faith. And I always said my dad is literally a living Abraham because he didn't have that.
Wow.
He just changed the legacy of the name. And we're just fortunate I was fortunate to have that. I knew really important at a very young age. And then once I didn't have much interest in girls when I was middle school, grade school, even in early high school, I was just so sports nut. I was always playing sports. And then she kind of changed that whole perspective when she came into my life. But I just remember my dad always telling me, don't ever date to find a mate.
Yeah.
And so I knew, here we are 17 years old and we're going to Pizza Hut on our first date. And we sat in there for like over 3 hours just talking. And one of the main subjects was, I love the Lord with all my heart. I'm 17.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a 17-year-old kid? And I was like, I can't date anybody that's not serious about their faith in Christ.
Yeah.
And she wasn't a Christian then. She grew up in the church, but she never had a relationship with Christ. She didn't know what that John 3:3 meant, And then it was a couple weeks later at youth group. I took her to youth group, and she gave her heart to Christ.
That's cool.
And I knew then, man, this is it right here. Don't screw this one up.
Well, and for me, the most special part of that is that potentially the decision that I had made at youth group, but then we had more intimate conversation in regard to that led me deeper in, and we just prayed together, which I thought was really remarkable. So I always I say the most precious gift that he will ever give me, because there's nothing more that he can give me than that nugget of that relationship with Christ.
Awesome.
So
very cool.
And I'm thankful for the little bit of church background that I did have in my family, but never received that gospel message.
Wow.
And then for me, what I believe God working was at 13, I was kind of sent away. We were building a home. I won't get into all of that, but I had to go 2.5 hours away to live with my grandparents for a month, away from my friends over the summer at 13. And I was a little bit bitter, a little angry. But of course, my grandmother puts me up in a bedroom with the Bible on the bedside table. And I was curious little, 13-year-old, and I opened it up. And of course, her bookmark was the book of John.
Wow.
So, I mean, as a 13-year-old and as someone who kind of knows about Jesus and knows about God, and, it compelled me. But I feel like those seeds were planted and made me very ripe for the moment that I met Don, and he led me to Christ with prayer and the youth group. So it's beautiful. To me, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so cool. Those little things you don't think of in the moment, but looking back, you see how the Lord was at work and lining things up. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I just want to interject something off your question, Jeff, and I think this is very important to say, because people will say to me, especially my players that I coach, well, you played in the NFL. I mean, your life was just so good, and you had it all, and you've been safe since 7, and I mean, what can you tell me? I mean, stuff like that, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, timeout. I said, we faced some very hard times. Okay, have we ever been on the brink of our marriage failing? Never, not even close, really. I mean, I trust her more than anybody other than Christ, and hers the same. So we don't have that issue. However, when I retired and we built our home, we designed for 7 years in our dream house to where we raise the kids and all this stuff, right? It's a house, right? Yep. And we move into it 6 months later. I get a call from the district attorney of the state of New York, and she said, "You Don Beebe?" I said, "Yeah." And she says, "Is Rick Muto your financial advisor?" And I said, "Well, yeah." I go, "Was there something wrong?" She said, "Well, let me just cut through the chase. You probably have lost all your money."
Wow.
And he took it all. He took my college funds for all my kids, and
goodness.
it was gone.
Oh, my word.
6 months
tough.
into this house.
Wow.
And I remember, and this is one of the stories I actually write in the devotional, and I share this story because God allows these things to happen, okay, to help not only shape you, but to hopefully help shape somebody else and help them in their walk. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first response was, I'm going to choke this dude out. Okay,
Yeah.
I mean, Rick was my buddy. I mean, we would go golfing together. Our families went to pool and the kids and hung out together. I mean, he was my financial advisor for about almost a decade. And so I didn't understand it. And I was like angry. And how could this happen? I mean, Rick. But then I know from my upbringing and just who I am as a man of faith. And I was like, no, you know what, Satan, I'm not going to let you do this.
Yeah.
And so I just started praying. I said, God, and I just cried out to God. I said, God, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm stuck in this house now. Okay, what am I going to do? I'll sell it. I don't care. It's just a house. I mean, if we have to, whatever it is to make. And he basically said to me, in a sense, and made me feel the Holy Spirit, call him. Call him. Tell him you love him. Tell him you'll be praying for him.
Wow.
So I called him later that night, and he picked it up, ironically. I can't believe he picked the phone up. You know, and he picked it up. He said, Don, I just want you to know I'm not. And I said, no, Rick, just stop. That's how I'm calling.
Yeah.
Whatever happens is going to happen. I just need to tell you that I love you and I'll be praying for you. I said, whatever happens, and if you are guilty, it's not going to be good, Rick. I said, but I just need you to know, okay, that I'll be praying for you. So what happened was, Jeff, is that he goes to jail for over 10 years, misses his kids' weddings and graduations. His wife left him, and his whole life outside the cell fell apart. But he started going to penitentiary chapel.
Wow.
And he said in an email, 10 and a half years later, he wrote in an email to me, he said, the reason I started going, he says, I couldn't understand what you had that I didn't.
Wow.
That's awesome. I had to find out what that was.
Amazing.
And so he got saved in jail. And he said, I just want you to know I got saved because of what you did. And I responded to him, and I said, I take no credit in that.
Yeah.
I said, because that's exactly what Christ did for me.
Yeah.
He gave it to me when I didn't deserve it either, and that's what grace is.
Yeah.
Ephesians 2:8-9, and I'm this like, and now I don't know what he's doing. I mean, obviously I don't use him as a financial advisor anymore, okay? But that's how God works.
Yeah.
And I said, if we can just keep focus on the big picture.
Yeah.
And the big picture is eternity.
Yep.
The big picture is not here and now. That's 60 to 80 years if you're lucky, right?
Yep.
The big picture is eternity, forever. And I want to make sure that I don't miss a boat when I have, because the greatest opportunity that you can show somebody about love is when you know they don't deserve it, but more importantly, they know it too.
Yeah.
And when you can show it anyway, it's kind of like in a marriage, and we talk about this all the time. You know, she knows that, I might be right or whatever, she might be right, but when you can still show love and respect in that, man, what's a powerful message.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So you've answered a couple questions we were going to ask, so that was great. You did.
Led right in there.
Thank you. No, it's great. But how do you navigate the NFL life and balance that, the travel, the highs and lows, and then your family time and all that stuff? And Diana, how did you navigate that when he's gone so much and stuff? How'd that work in your marriage and your faith? And
well, I have always said, if you take a look at the professional sports as a whole, football by far is the most family friendly. I mean, they fly into their destination the night before the game, and they're literally fly immediately after the game.
Wow.
There's no long series like basketball will have or baseball. So for me, I was thrilled. And the second thing for myself is that I grew up watching football with my dad. So I was a football fan long before he even started playing football in high school, So that was incredible as well. So that had always been my favorite. As far as the kids and the NFL are concerned, the biggest key is to keep things normal. Like, we didn't want them thinking that just because dad might have this large platform, or you might see him on TV, that he's a different kind of a guy, because he's normal. Yeah. And he's human, and he loves Jesus, and that's the most important thing in dad's life. This is just what he happens to do to make a living, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, greater than that, it's about, you know, raising your kids, because you're in an environment, and not everybody raises their families the same way, and you're kind of thrown in with a mixed, you know, bag. Sometimes we had to have discussions and talks. Our children, because we were a little bit older going into the league, like Don was, so our kids, we just had our first two, Amanda and Chad, and then Michaela came along when we were in Green Bay. But it was just important to us to keep scripture and prayer time the forefront. And even when they were small, you know, in Deuteronomy 11:18, it talks about how we're supposed to impress the word on our children's hearts, bind it around their neck, and put it on your forehead when you're, you know, before you lie down, before you rise. It should be on your lips. And so that's what I focused mostly on for our kids in raising them, because their identity needed to also be in Christ, not in what their dad did for a living. And so just pray that continues on, you know, through the course of their lives, and as they were to get older, I wanted that to be for them. So
in the NFL, and really probably in any, it's true in whatever environment anybody's working in, but you know, the more that there's an increase in resources for people that you're working around, the limelight, the attention that comes with that. A lot of times there's a lifestyle that is being lived by a lot of the people in that setting. Like, how did you navigate that with your children, being around, maybe even seeing the way that some of your peers were choosing to live, and trying to show that there's a different way to live out life, even when you're in the limelight like that? How did you navigate that with your kids as they were maybe seeing some things that were different than what they're experiencing at home?
You want me to take it?
Well, I'll just do two things, and then I'll let you go focus in. There's also an opportunity in the NFL to be able to serve community. So we really, we didn't stop or hire babysitters. We took our kids a lot of places so that they could experience a lot of what we're experiencing too. So that was helpful as well. And they were very small. So that, you know, but there was an instance where I saw our oldest, our daughter, she had a toy that wasn't quite working right. And the first instance that I saw that, she said, well, we'll just go buy a new one. And it struck me like, I said, no, I think we're going to try to fix her first. It was a doll that talked or did something. And I said, we're going to try and fix her first before that. And we had this conversation about, you know, how there are people out there that are suffering and hurting. And so this might sound brutal, and maybe I might get a phone call from who knows who, but I took her to our garage in Buffalo that was quite cold, and I sat her on the stoop of the garage step. And I said, there are people that do live outside and sleep outside, and children that don't have a single toy. And I said, we're just not going to have that attitude that if just something goes wrong or something breaks, we just go buy a new one. So that was kind of like, you know, you're trying hard to give them visuals and give them something that they will remember. And she's, to this day, she is probably our least, what do I say, the least princess?
It's stuck.
Because to Dad, they're all his little princesses. His daughters are precious.
I would add, you know, raising your kids, you know, first of all, kids need to know, and I said this a little bit about dads in there today, just specifically with the dads, but his mom as well, but the greatest commodity we can give our kids is our time. And every little boy and every little girl wants to be around dad and wants to be around mom. Okay, they might not admit it at time, even when they're 13. Okay, but they do. Deep down, and they do. So you just love them unconditionally. Okay, discipline them out of love. Don't ever discipline out of anger. If you're angry, walk away. Come back, deal with it then when you're right with Christ. Because our human nature will say and do stupid things. That's not the time to discipline. And so when they know that you really, really care and love them unconditionally, just like Christ loves us, they're willing to listen more. Okay. And as they got into the age, well, why don't we have a cell phone? Why can't we have our laptop in our bedrooms? Why can't, my friend has all these apps and stuff like that. And we're like, well, first, we want you to understand that, yes, we live in this world, but because you're a new creation in Christ, you're not of this world.
Yep.
Big difference.
Yep.
You live in it, but you're not of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And our kids knew that at a very young age.
Yeah.
And so when they go to school and then they see these kids doing all these things and on their phones or whatever it is, they learn that it's not right, and B, it's okay not to have that. I got all I need in Christ. And that's very hard for an 8-year-old to understand or a 10-year-old to understand. But you just keep enforcing this and loving them and taking them to church and sitting down as a family. Right. Eating meals together.
Yeah.
Okay. And once you bond and build this relationship, it gets easier when they're 13 to 16.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. There's always a way, also, I'll interject, to carve out that time. Because a lot of people will say, well, can you do dinner? Or how can you do this or what? And it's like, sometimes you can't do dinner because life, your kids are busy. They're in, especially when they get older, they get in their activities. And so everyone's kind of pulled apart. And so then we created breakfast because we knew everybody was waking up together. So that's exactly what we did. And that was a time of going through Proverbs. We would read one because there's 31. Yeah. So it would be a whole month's worth of everyone around the table. And then, what was your, at dinner time, it would be sometimes what was your favorite thing that happened today? Yeah. What was the worst thing that happened today? So it's just opening that dialogue and having those times. But you can create it. It just has to be a concerted effort.
Yeah,
right.
It's good.
Yeah, no cell phones at the dinner table, no laptops in the bedrooms, no cell phones in the bedrooms.
Yeah.
Right.
They stay right there and you can pick them up in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's just it's just so unique to hear parents who are willing to do that because the parents are just as addicted to the screen as the kids, and then we have just settled for just everyone is addicted. Right. And you go to your corner and I go to mine, and
what's caught in the house is taught.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Well, and I think young. I'm not sure how old your children are, or if you have children.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a wide range.
My oldest is 22, and my youngest is 5.
Okay. so then you're seeing everything. So like you went through that whole span of time where, because we have our youngest is 26. But she kind of got that brunt where the other kids, like getting a cell phone at 16 for Christmas was like a really big deal. Yeah. They didn't have everything connected to the internet. We were close. Yeah. But now parents, it's a challenge and it is a different world.
Yeah. But to set the standards out of love, and they will come. They will.
Yeah, God's standards don't change just because our society does. So
Amen.
Yeah. Did you have a hard time with your kids ever fighting you on those devotional times or those family times and just being like? I ask for a friend. Yeah. Oh. My kids sometimes are like, "Oh, I don't want to do good."
Yeah.
Right. Occasionally, maybe, or they wouldn't really. They were very respectful, which I was like. I felt like they were just such gifts, They, and they did challenge us in certain areas and places. Of course, everyone will go through that. But they were pretty respectful. So even if they were thinking it, they often just didn't speak it and kind of just went through it. And really the only time we had mostly would be at dinner when our third was really particular about her food, and she wouldn't eat.
She wouldn't eat it.
Then she'd get a little mopey and not really participate much. But
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So Don, you had quite a journey from all the way from high school to eventually ending up in the NFL with quite a bit of adversity and struggle. Could you share maybe? I know I read your book, which I told you last night, which is phenomenal, and you share a lot of it in there. Obviously, we don't have time to go through the whole thing, but could you share like some of the adversity and struggle that you went through, and then how it affected you both through that process? Like, what did it shape in you going through that?
Yeah, I'm going to give you a Reader's Digest. Yep. So when I graduated from high school, I only had one school come after me. It was Western Illinois. I went there for 2 weeks, left, wasn't ready for the college scene, very quiet, unassuming, introverted kid that I just, people scared me to death, and then plus I was homesick and girl sick. Diana was my girlfriend at that time, and and I just didn't want to be 3 hours away from home. So I left. I sat out 3 years, worked construction for 3 years, not going to school and not playing football at all. And I just felt through my quiet time that the Lord was really pressing upon me that construction is not what I want you doing. I want you to go back and play football. And I was like, well, God, I don't know where to turn and how to do this. And then from that decision, I said, I'll follow you wherever you want me to go. I'll do it. I had this desire to go back and play football. I didn't have no idea where it was going to be. Lo and behold, it happened to be Western. Now, if you think about this, and this I did not say in the men's breakfast, is a very compelling part about this is that Western Illinois called me 3 years after I left them.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a college recruiter. If a kid comes into my camp this fall and he leaves after 2 weeks, I won't even know the kid's name after probably a few months, most likely. And why didn't they call me after 1 year? I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Why didn't they call me after 2 years? I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
Spiritually, I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But 3 years later, I'm ready, and now that door's going to open up. I mean, that can only be God.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they called me back. And I went back and didn't work out. I had to leave again. For transfer credit hours were short, and then I transferred back again. Now with only 1 year of eligibility to play in the Division I football, and then I played. But my career started before I ever played one down of college football. And how that happened was I just walked into a private workout that guys were going to be seniors at Western Illinois, and there were 5 scouts there in the NFL. I wasn't even invited. I literally walked out of math class in my sandals, jean shorts, and a tank top. And I walked in and I saw my teammates who I just did spring drills with, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And, well, the NFL is here to do a pro day. I didn't know what a pro day was. And he goes, and he asked this Dallas scout, can this kid run? And the Dallas scout said, yeah, who cares? Just let the kid run. So I flipped my flip-flop off, and I ran a 4.32 barefooted, in jean shorts
awesome.
in front of these 5 scouts, and that's when my NFL career started.
Yeah.
I mean, is that not God or what?
That's
I mean,
amazing.
before I even played it down in college football.
Yeah.
So then I played that year, and I had some really good success at Western that year, which was crazy. And I was still getting form letters by NFL scouts, and they said, you may get a free agent shot, but there's no way you're going to get drafted. But one of the school coaches, Western Illinois coaches, says you can play at the NAI level. I didn't know what the NAI was, but you got 2 more years, 10 more, because they go by semesters, not years. So my time clock wasn't being used up at the NAI. So I went home. I had 3 weeks to make a decision. Where in the world am I going to go to play football at the NAI level? There was a school that was really close to my home, Benedictine University. Perfect situation by the world standards, but not God's, and I knew it. And the only way I could know it was through prayer and reading His Word and seeking counsel from my dad and Diana and everything like this, because, we had been dating 5 years at that time. I was like, well, if this ain't it, God, then where? Because I had no other options at this point in time. And sometimes when you don't have an option, you got to take what you got, right? Yeah. But then God opened up an avenue. About a week later, I got a call from Chadron State, Nebraska. The head coach that recruited me from Western Illinois 5 years previous was now the head coach at Chadron. He just reached out.
Wow.
And he said, hey, I'd love to have you come out here. And I did. I'll be honest with you, without going into a long story about that, there was no way on earth I was going to Chadron, Nebraska. I mean, literally, I had never been out of Illinois, really. I think I was in Iowa once. I'd never been to Nebraska. I didn't even know where it really was. But I started praying. And I had about a week and a half or so to make this decision. I was just praying, and I was fighting, and I was just like, God, no, I don't want to go there. We were engaged to be married at this time, and God kept pressing upon me, yes, I want you to go there, and kept making me feel very comfortable about a place I knew nothing about. And so I landed up making the decision to go out there, and who would have thought? Who would have thought that Chadron State was the mecca of the NFL? I mean, come on, give me a break, right? So I go out to Chadron, and I played that year, had a great year, and still was just being told by NFL, maybe free agent. And then I get invited to the Combine, and the Combine is the big show at Indianapolis that everybody watches now on the NFL channel. Think about this. How in the world is a guy like me going to get invited to this only with 2 years of college football at Chadron State, NAI Division II, and I'm a 5'10" guy coming from nowhere, but God. Yeah. And there's a Combine scout that came through, and he, to his dying day, said it was the greatest workout I ever put a guy through. And he got me into that Combine. Now, I want to put this in perspective. There's a guy by the name of Danny Woodhead. Danny Woodhead played, I think, 10 years in the National Football League. He won the Outland Trophy 2 years in a row in all of college football. He broke Barry Sanders' record in rushing yards. Oh, and by the way, he was the running back at Shadron State for 4 years. He didn't get invited to the combine.
Wow.
So how does Don Beebe, who played there like 10, 15 years before Danny Woodhead, get invited other than Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So I get invited. I go. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm so just naive. And all I had was my backpack and my old ASIC fishing shoes that the right sole on the right foot was unglued. And when I walk, it flopped. These shoes were so old, they weren't even held together anymore. And I had to run the 40 in a flopping fishing shoe, and I broke the all-time record in a flopping fishing shoe. I ran a 4.29, which is only God can do that. Well, my life changed in 4.29 seconds, and I landed up being the first pick of the Bills in the 1989 draft. If that's not Jesus either, I don't know what it is. So I always say that, listen, I wasn't, God gifted me in speed, but there was guys that were just more talented than me and bigger stature and everything of this, coming from bigger schools and all that. But God had a plan for my life at a very young age, and I knew it. I didn't know football, but I knew it was going to be sports, and I was going to play for him, and that's always what I wanted to do in life, and I'm still doing it through now coaching.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So,
amazing.
just a random question.
Yep.
I wonder, did that start putting, because we attended NAIA University, did that start putting, like, the NFL start taking notice of those kids in those different divisions like that?
Yeah, especially Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo was kind of, you think about it, Andre Reed came out of D2, Keith McKellar, the tight end, came out of NAIA, Pete Metzler came out of Division III. I mean, that team was full of those guys. So, that team really was a catalyst of other NFL. I've always said this, from high school to college, you can get passed over very easy. From college to NFL, they'll find you. If you're that good, they'll find you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is it was just God's plan for my life. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are, what you're going to do.
Exactly.
It's just God's,
Yeah.
God's plan is always going to work.
You were there before all the online stuff now. Or now, if a kid's blazing fast these days, it's going to pop up on YouTube or Instagram.
Totally.
You were able to break through before having the benefit of
the internet.
online.
And it was one guy. But it was one guy. It was Bill Giles. God sent Bill Giles to Shadron State to time me in the 40 and work me out. And Bill Giles was used by the Lord to change my life.
That has to have this. We're going a little bit off script here. These are some good questions.
Yeah.
As you look back, so now, you've been. When did you end? When does your NFL career end? What year?
Yeah, I retired in May of 1998.
Okay.
So 97 was my last year.
So just your journey to get to and then through the NFL, along with all the injuries that you face and setbacks, like now post NFL career, it would seem like, looking back, every adversity you face now, you have evidence of God's faithfulness from the past that has to push you through adversity now.
God, that's such a good point. That is such a good point.
True.
Because, and that's why I tell kids, young kids, this is happening for a reason. It's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I know it's devastating. I get it, but it's okay. You'll be fine. There's always hope.
Yeah.
And once you learn this and God takes you through these things, and that's one of the reasons, there's many reasons why God allows things to happen. And just so you know, God doesn't do it. Satan does that. That's Satan's job. Okay, let's just get that straight, because everybody's blaming God for all these. No, Satan does that. God just allows it. Only Romans 8:28 for the good of him.
Amen.
That they love him. So when we do that, the next thing that comes around, okay, that's why I always say now, it's not that hard, but it won't be easy.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, in
You'll
Christ,
get through it.
he's the perfecter of our faith.
Yeah.
So what he's doing is he's refining us, And so when you go through hardship, it's all in the point of perspective and how you're looking at it. You can turn inward and be self-centered and poor me and why is this happening to me? Or you can look outward or upward and say, okay, this is definitely a trial, but we can get through this, and he's working something out in me, perhaps my husband, perhaps my children, and beyond that, it could be community.
Yeah, that's good.
But there's always purpose and meaning, and of course, can't forget about perseverance.
Yeah.
So your trial comes, and it's a season, and you take it into the next season.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I always, I've said several times from the pulpit before that, in the moment of adversity, we're always in that kind of poor me, why is this happening to me?
Yep.
But then, I've said before, and you guys are alluding to it here, we need to always remember where we've come from. Like when we're stressing about money, or we're stressing about the things of life, or the car broke down or whatever. And I've always said every worry you had in the moment that you thought this is the biggest problem? And tomorrow, the next day, it's not a worry anymore. Every worry you've ever had has been resolved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every problem, every adversity has had a solution.
Yeah.
And so if like all those times of adversity in the past have been resolved and you don't even think about them anymore, then don't you think right now is going to get resolved too?
Yeah.
And you won't
Right.
think about it tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we don't do that enough. We don't think enough about what God's done.
You know, the other
Yeah.
thing I'll add on to that, because that's such a good point, is that the older I've gotten through the age and the adversities and things that you go through, you've learned to recognize Satan more. I'll give you an example. Is in 2004, God called me to Aurora Christian to coach high school football. We were literally coming out of a movie, and I read in the paper that Aurora Christian was moving into this new facility in an industrial park area. And I was like, you know, believe me, nobody contacted me about coaching there. They already had a coach and everything like this. And I was just intrigued. I knew I wanted to coach. I knew God called me to coach, but I had nobody was opening a door for me. Matter of fact, Yorkville High School told me I was underqualified to be their coach. And I just looked at that and said, okay, God doesn't want me here. It's okay. I just got him walked out. It's fine. I was not hurt. My feelings weren't hurt. Nothing. I just walked out. And so I said, I want to see where they're going to be moving. So we parked the truck on the corner of where the building is now. And there's this weed and rocky field that only the place, because they're landlocked, that their football field could have one. And I was like, can I just go out, stay here. I'm just going to go out and walk the grounds a little bit. And I went out, and I got to be honest with you, I just started crying. Mm-hmm. I just started weeping out. I was just like, oh my gosh, it was so overwhelming that the Holy Spirit was just moving on me on that day. And I was roughly where about the 50-yard line is now, where the field is. And I just said, God, if you want me here, open the door. I'll take it right now. Okay, well, let me get to this point real quick. I knew it. 2 weeks later, the job opened up. I took the job, and I became the coach 1 year later. Okay, 1 year later, guess who calls me? Marv Levy of the Buffalo Bills, who was going to take the job in 2006, January 2006. He was going to announce the next day he was taking the general manager job, and he's calling me the night before.
Wow.
You got to ask why. He says, Don, I'm going to become the general manager. I want to know if you want to get into coaching in Buffalo.
Wow.
You know what my first thought was? First I said, wow, what an honor that you would call me coach, you know. My second thought was, I see you, Satan.
Yeah.
See, God called me, and it was so evident.
Yeah.
And why would he take away in a year that the mission hasn't been accomplished yet at Aurora Christian, but Satan's tempting me with the NFL? And I said no, without even batting an eye.
Yeah.
And you know what? 21 years later, it was the right decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
No question about it.
Sometimes we forget that Satan doesn't just use obstacles; he also uses opportunities.
That's right.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
And that's great. I had not heard that part of your story, and that's we need to be mindful of, like, the calling is so key. Like, Lord, if this is where you want me, then it doesn't matter what opportunity comes.
That's
Right.
I need to be where you want me.
That's right.
I think sometimes we kind of view, like, well, of course, if it's better for me in all the earthly ways, it must be God. Not always
Not
true.
always
That's true.
The enemy can use even good things to keep us from God's best.
That's right.
Which is what, I know
That's
that
right.
your heart is, to be in God's best for your life.
That's right.
Even if it doesn't come with some of the worldly things that we might view as so good for us. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
You bet.
Yeah.
You've mentioned your dad,
Yeah.
your hero.
Yeah.
Who are some other people that they're just kind of giants for you in their life? Obviously, Jesus gets the glory.
Oh, sure.
But they're people who just really impacted you in your faith.
No, just impacted me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and certainly my faith. I mean, she's a prayer warrior. Okay, she is a person that she's my best friend. I mean, it's more than marriage to us.
Yeah.
I enjoy talking with her. I enjoy taking walks with her. I know she feels the same. So she's obviously, my dad. My son would be on that. My three girls. I mean, we love chatting. We love talking with them, and Frank Reich was a big part of that journey. Okay, as far as an impact of a friend, Chris Earl, another friend of mine, Pastor Larry Hodge, the church I grew up to, God rest his soul, was a great mentor. Pastor Kevin Garner, who's our pastor now, who just recently retired in June. So just, I've been centered around really godly men, okay, that And I would encourage everybody. And the thing about it is, who's ever listening to this, they're out there. You can go find them. You just got to get into the right, church would be one place, okay, that you can find these people. In everybody's workforce, okay, there's somebody in there that loves Jesus with all their heart. Find them. Okay, so that's what I would encourage, Men need men.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we're so prideful.
Yeah.
And so private.
Yeah.
Okay, and so protective. Okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amen.
Yes.
Amen. You were I've appreciated so much this weekend learning so much more of your off the field life.
Yeah.
So I think, on the field is what most people know you for. But I think even you would say the off the field stuff is what matters the most. That's what I've gleaned from you so much this weekend. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But we are curious, like you went to Super Bowl 4 straight times with the Bills. I mean, they were, even though you experienced those losses, I mean, those Buffalo Bills teams are some of the best NFL teams we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And yet you go through 4 consecutive losses. Eventually you end up winning one with Green Bay, which is awesome. But as you were experiencing those losses, the first one, then you get back again, you probably thought at some point we're going to win one, and then you didn't win any of those 4. What did those losses do to you personally as you're going through them? What did it teach you? How did your faith play into that? Like, just speak into that a little bit about those just 4 consecutive years. It had to be a little bit demoralizing.
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing we got to realize is just a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a game. It's just a football game. I think we put too much emphasis on NFL. Yeah. So that would be the first thing I would say.
Yeah.
Second, I would say is, as you look back at it on it, was it really adversity?
Wow.
I mean, we went 4 in a row. We were the only team to go to 4 in a row in the history of the NFL.
Amazing.
I mean, and you said it right. I mean, that was one of the most talented teams ever assembled.
Yep.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Wow.
We had a blast.
That's awesome.
Okay, and
That's awesome.
And there's some of the closest relationship teams that I've ever been a part, coached or played.
Yeah.
That team I could probably say was the closest team still today. And I've had some great teams as a coach and other teams playing for you. I mean, I won one with the Packers.
Yeah.
As great as that was, Buffalo was still closer.
Yeah.
I mean, we had great relationships, and it was all centered on Christ.
Wow.
A lot of solid Christian guys on that team. But, when you go through what the world would say would be adversity, it binds you together.
Yeah.
It really does, I think. And we had the perfect coach for that. Yeah, Coach Levy was, extraordinarily brilliant. A master's in literature from Harvard. I mean, this guy's 100 years old, and he still did the last scenes in the movie Run for Glory. He was the only person that played himself in the movie was Marv.
It's amazing.
Levy. Crazy brilliance.
Yeah.
Incredible man. And so you learn a lot how to run an organization and how to run a team from a guy like that.
Yeah.
And it's basically built on culture through great character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Character
It's awesome.
wins.
It's awesome.
And if you got great character, okay, it's going to be good no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Win or lose.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't want you to ever use any names, but as you guys were going through that, were there other men on the team that had the opposite reaction, that they let those losses kind of lead them into that, spiral of defeat or even depression? Like, did you see any of that in those guys?
Yeah, I think there were some of the guys that didn't hang around very long.
Okay. Yeah.
They might have been there for 1 or 2 of them.
Okay.
And they were guys that were probably doing, a lot of, the core guys. I think there's 24 that went to all 4.
Okay.
Those 24 guys, just thinking off the top of those guys, the Mark Pikes and the Steve Taskers and the Kellys, Thurman Thomas, and all those guys, man, I'm telling you what, every one of those guys, all in.
Wow.
All in all day.
That's awesome.
And just good human beings. Whether they knew Christ or not, they were still really good human beings. And it's funny because the Thurman Thomases and the Jim Kellys and a lot of those guys are now saved.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool to see how God has used that and worked into these guys now.
Very
Because
cool.
But no, it was a unique team in a unique time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Crazy.
Well, and another thing to interject too is that I think the good, solid group core of men who were pretty faithful in all of the men's, you would meet like 3-4 times a week. They realized their true identity.
Wow.
And it wasn't in football because
that's
football's
really
really
good.
big. Like especially if you're playing in the NFL, it can be very daunting and overwhelming, and it can absorb you if you allow it. And I think that was part of that is that even those who might not have been walking, rightly or related to the Lord, they still had that ability to be able to know, okay, this is football, and this is me and my family, and like we're going to be okay.
That's awesome.
And I think it's such an incredible mindset to have, just because you're in an industry that for you, Christ is king.
Yeah.
But for those fans, football is king.
That's right.
And, they're not thinking it's just a game. They're thinking this is God.
Yeah.
And my life is over.
That's right.
And I'm losing sleep. And, I can't believe you guys can't win. It's like, and so my heart breaks for people that don't have that same mentality. And I just love your heart to just say like, hey, it's just a game. It's okay.
Yeah.
Don't let this be
what a
your
perfect
God.
opportunity, though.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
Just to share the gospel with them and say there's more than football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even though they might not, what do you see, more than football? Were you crazy? And then you just start sharing things with them, and in more of an intimate one-on-one situation, being that they're a fan, because they're going to listen to me, whether I like it or not. They're just going to listen to me. Which, to be honest with you, I'm not real comfortable with it, but yet I am comfortable with it because I know what I'm going to say is going to come through Christ.
Yeah.
Then I'm comfortable with it. Because I'm miserable just like you, man. I'm just a human being that makes a lot of stupid mistakes and says stupid things sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm just human. And that's what I want to get across to people like that is this, I'm just like you.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have hope in Christ.
Yeah.
My hope is not in the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, I mean, it's fun to win.
Yeah.
I mean,
And God calls us to be to excellence,
Oh, yeah,
right?
run the race
I mean,
to win.
we
That's
serve,
what-
we serve an
And
excellent
it's not
God.
like you weren't like, Jesus is king. I don't need to try this hard
No,
on this route.
Oh,
It's
no,
like,
you don't know me then.
Like you're still
Yeah.
competitive. You
Yeah.
still want to
Extremely
win.
competitive.
And
Yes.
did you?
Yeah.
But so when you did win one with Green Bay, was there any sense of like a relief for you, or was it just like?
Yeah, that's a great question.
It is a great question.
Okay, so, and I say this quite often, I am the safety guy in Super Bowl 31 standing 10 yards behind Favre. I'm looking up at the clock and I'm watching the last 10 seconds click off that crazy game that I'm finally going to win. And as soon as it went off and just
Pandemonium.
everything was just pandemonium. I mean, it's just going crazy. So Super Bowl, I walk up to Favre and I said, hey, Brett, can I have that ball? And he said, Beebs, nobody deserves it more than you.
Wow.
And he gave me the game ball, but my thoughts and everything that I had was, I'm going to go find Diana and our two kids, Chad and Amanda, who were then 4 and 2 years old.
Wow.
Okay? And they came down out of the crowd, and I gave them a big hug and kiss, and I gave them my shoes and the ball and gloves and everything. And my whole thoughts just started being flooded with Buffalo Bills. My friends, the fans, Marv Levy, Bill Polian, the owner Ralph Wilson, and then guilt came in.
Wow. Oh, man.
It's like, why me? Why me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Man.
It's pretty incredible.
Thank you for sharing that, man.
Well, the heart is so great because if football controlled your life, I can only imagine what it would have done to your marriage, to your kids, for you to, and I'm sure this does happen to many where you go home and Diana would have had to been like, oh man,
Right.
Yeah.
another
one.
loss.
Right.
He's going to mope, he's going to be angry, he's going to be depressed, and but Christ did such
Yeah.
a work in your life to
awesome.
help
Yeah.
you fight through all that,
Very cool.
stuff.
That's truth.
Yeah. So,
That's truth.
when I walked off the field, and I just started sharing with everybody when I got on the bus, just phone calls and
Wow.
with my friends, and every one of them was just,
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
They're
That is
happy
so
for you.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. That's very cool, man. Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that. We've gone a while here. We probably need to
Yeah, we
start
need to wrap
coming
it
to an
up.
end,
Yeah.
Maybe like one last question here, even two, maybe. But you guys have some grandkids now.
We do.
3 with fourth one. No, you have 5 with the sixth one on the way.
Coming, yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So I have 4 grandkids myself, and so life changes quite a bit when you have grandkids in a great way.
Yeah.
If your grandkids could only remember one thing about you guys, what are you wanting to instill in that now next generation?
I have mine.
Go ahead.
Faithfulness.
Faithfulness.
Yeah.
That's good.
And because it's just all encompassing.
Yeah.
So between friendships, faithfulness in friendships, faithfulness in your relationship with for them, grandchildren, their future spouse.
Yeah.
And just the obvious one is faithful to the Lord.
Yeah.
And just having that heart's desire that your sin makes you so disgusted with yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That you're broken over your sin. And I want them to feel that and know that, because that's where it's going to take them to a place on their knees.
That's good.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Along with that is I want to teach our grandkids the same things that we taught our kids. They're still our kids. And so every time that they're at the house, I'm going to treat them just like they're my kids, raising them, right?
Yep.
And the biggest thing is that you just give them your time.
Yeah.
And I'm already building a relationship with the boat fishing.
Yeah.
Hey, can't wait to go fishing and get you in the boat, because I know that this age they might not like it at 5.
Yeah.
But it's building this passion to be in the boat with Poppy.
Yep.
Because I'm called Poppy.
Okay. I was wondering what your names were. What's your grandma name?
Grammy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so when they're 15 or they're 18 and they have problems,
Yep. They know
my
who to go to.
granddaughters and my grandson are going to sit in that boat and they're going to talk to Poppy.
Yep. Amen.
Okay. And so, and it might not be the boat when we're at home. It might just be breakfast or whatever.
Yep.
But you're building a relationship
good.
that they can trust and confide in you.
Yeah, it's good. That's
Yeah.
good. It's awesome.
Yeah, my only question would be similar to what kind of advice would you give to a young couple that's just starting out in their relationship?
With kids or just in their
Just a young couple.
Just a relationship?
Yeah, like a young married couple.
Yeah. No question, it has to be centered on Christ.
Yeah.
The number one quality that the man can have in a marriage is humility.
Mm-hmm.
Admit when you're wrong. Men don't want to admit when they're wrong, right? So if in a marriage or even when relationship, even with your kids, because the kids look at you like, well, Dad's got all the answers. No, I don't. I don't have all the answers, but I know who does.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when you can admit that you're wrong in a relationship or to your own kid, hey, I'm sorry, son, I shouldn't have said that to you. I shouldn't have, spanked you, or shouldn't have, whatever it was, right? I shouldn't have reacted that way. But I love you and I care a lot about you and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh man, that just breaks all of Satan's binds that he wants on you, just tears them away.
Yeah.
When you fill it with the Spirit of the Lord.
Yeah.
And doing that within our marriage has helped us so immensely. People are like, well, you guys, we're not perfect. We don't have a perfect marriage, okay? But I really believe, and I've always said this, and this may be controversial, and I'll say it anyway, okay?
We'll cut it out if we have to.
Yeah. Is I believe that when a marriage falls apart, it's the man's fault. I really believe that if the man truly understood what it means to love their wife like Christ loved the church, what woman would ever want to walk away from that? But a man can't get himself to do that. If we're in a heated argument and I look at her and say, I'm sorry, whether I have a tear or not, but she knows and she could see that I'm deeply sorry that I shouldn't have said that. I'm the dope, that idiot or whatever that said that. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, what's her reaction going to be? Yeah. Oh, no, you're still an idiot. No, she's not. She's going to say, yeah, I love you too. And then we move on.
Yeah, it's good.
But it really has to, we both do that, but it really kind of has to start with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my life verse has always been Galatians 2:20, and it's about dying to self. I've been crucified with Christ. So that takes that whole inward looking selfishness about, I can't believe he treated me that way or said that to me or, whatever. It just takes that right out and levels it all out at the foot of the cross, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I have held on to. And then also the book of Esther, and just trying to replicate her 3-day call to prayer and to have patience in something. And so when there's like a bigger issue or a bigger topic that we need to discuss, we might not be in the immediate on the same page. I've learned to kind of take a step back and not press in so fast and take those 3 days, because a lot of times God changes my heart and the whole conversation changes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll add to what she just said, because she taught me something young in our marriage. And she said something that resonated, that, who I am as your wife, okay, and my hope and everything that I am as a woman is not solely dependent on you. It's dependent on Christ.
That's good, man.
And so when I look at her, she's a human. She's going to fail me. I'm going to fail her.
Yeah.
But Christ never is going to.
Yeah, that's good.
So when we get into those situations, of those little bits that Satan is tempting our marriage and trying to destroy it, because trust me, he's trying to destroy your marriage every single minute of the day.
Yeah.
When you know that, then I'm like, and she says something crazy or I say something crazy, I'm like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And as she said, and there's one thing we've learned, is she wants to talk about it now. I need time. Okay. However, she's learned to give me that time, because I don't want to say something stupid in the heat of the moment. I have to come back and make sure that we talk about it.
Yeah.
And see, a man will just, okay, we're good, right? We're good. No, we need to talk about it. So a man has to go back and talk about it. So we've learned that in our marriage, and it's really helped us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, you guys need to start a podcast on marriage and family. You've got a lot to share. So you've got a devotional and a book. Where can people find those resources?
Yeah, so I wrote a devotional on never giving up, okay, and it's some of the stories we shared today. And then I wrote another devotional right after that, In His Image. And all they are is like, you can use them for Bible studies. There's 12 different stories. So how this came about was this, is I was asked by a company, Kifect, in Nashville, that my daughter worked at in the marketing department, and she did all these projects. Well, they asked me to do a wide receiver book, okay? And I was like, okay, great. I have no desire. So I was literally driving in the gas station with her on the phone talking about the wide receiver book, and I was like, Caitlin, you got to understand what I'm going to tell you right now. The Lord just pressed upon me to say this. I need to say this. We're not going to do the wide receiver book. We're going to do a devotional. Dad, we've already got it. We got it. Honey, relax. Take a deep breath. This is, okay. God pressed me upon me, so this is coming from the Lord, not your father. So she understood that. She goes, really? I said, yes. I said, we're going to do devotional. She said, well, there's a lot of devotionals. I said, I know. And I said, but this is going to be an athletic devotional. She said, there's a lot of athletic devotionals. I said, I know. I said, but how many former players that played at the NFL level or any professional sport wrote personal stories about their lives that God allowed to happen in their lives, and Satan took them through some tough times as a father and as a person, okay? And how'd you get through it biblically? And so I share scripture that got me through those moments, and I share the story in a brief devotion that allows to have a Bible study on it 12 weeks in a row. And then I did the father one. And I'll be honest with you, it was all God. That's why I've really enjoyed writing them. Yeah. And I literally wrote them in like days. It didn't take me long at all. It was just like flowing through me. It's just like, it's awesome. And they put together, and so those devotionals. And to answer your question, you can only find the devotionals on donbaby.com.
Okay.
Yeah, and then anything with the movie Run for Glory is on there as well. We're updating that as much as we can. That should come out in, like I said, February, March. Yeah. But everything that we do is centered on Christ. This has nothing to do with me and Diana.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So everyone go to donbb.com, pick up those devotionals, and then, man, let's be on the lookout for that movie. That'll be amazing. Yeah. Let's do a screening.
There you go.
There you go.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that'd be really awesome.
That would be.
So we got 1,000 people. Let's get them to the theater. It'd be fun. Well, thank you guys so much. This has really been enjoyable.
Yeah,
just appreciate you giving your time, and man, love your hearts for the Lord more than anything else.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you. Yeah. And so thanks everybody for checking in and listening. Love you guys. We'll see you next time.